Konnichiwa and welcome back to Chrono Reviews, and this time it's time for yet another Figma review, and this time it's the Kantai collection Tokitsukaze Figma, and this is pretty much a retool of the Yukikaze Figma, because the clothing are pretty similar, but yet there are some differences and there's some new parts as well. And I think that ship girls they look quite nice as a Figma, because there are a lot of gear, you can pose them nicely, so they fit very well as Figmas. And this one have the standard new Figma box layout just like everything else, but the yellow and black, it goes quite well together with the blue text and all that, so quite good job there. And the license sticker is here, which seem to be pretty standard on Figma these days. On the front, some of the older Figmas had sometimes on the back, and it was randomly placed at some point. Some have it here, so I think it's easier when it's on the same place on everything. I'm not sure if that's totally the case, but the recent ones I had a sticker on the same place. Checking out the box, there is picture on the side. I really like her hair because it's slightly toned, so it's black but it's toned into a bluish grey on the sides, and that's quite neat. On the back there is different poses, and on the side there's another picture, and on the top and on the bottom. Alright, here is Tokitsukaze out of the box, and I must say she looks smooth, clean and nicely painted, and she looks like she's not having much limitations on the articulation either, and she looks really nice. And I think she actually was one of the destroyers featured in the Kantai collection movie. I really need to rewatch that movie, but I think she was one of the destroyers there. So she's not only from the Kantai collection game, but also from the movie as far as I know. Checking out the details of this figure, she looks nice and clean. I like that she have red eyes and dark hair, and also the toned there. It makes me prefer her over Yukikaze a little bit. But I think they're the same class. I can't really remember which class it was. It was Kagero class or something. I might be wrong, so don't listen to me. I will check that up later before posting her up. So the paint job, I can't really find any mistakes. It's simple but clean. And the articulation on this figure is of course a ball jointed head, and shoulder joints ball jointed, and elbow joints, and there are hands joint. Right, not let this fall to the ground. The sleeve are a separate part that you attach together with the hand, so keep that in mind. So when you change hands, this blue part will fall off too. Let's see. She does not have any particular torso joint. It's pretty stiff. Whoops! There goes the torpedo tubes. But I will get to that. Where did it go? There, under the chair. Right. It's a peg joint. So let's go into that. It's a ball joint here, but the peg goes onto the back, so it was not like it was broken or anything. It's like, I think you can put the Figma stand in there or on the top of the torpedo tubes, and they looks nice and clean. Let's put them back on. But the torso is pretty much stiff. Some of the figures do have minor torso articulation because of the rubber parts. The skirt part here is soft, so it bends when the legs go up, and the legs are of course ball jointed, but it limits her a little bit like this. And there are knee joints and foot joints. They are a little bit limited, but not catastrophically limited. But there are no torso joints, so she's a little bit limited, more than I thought, but it's not bad at all. So let's see if she can stand on her own again, like she did at the start. Yeah, there we go. So the accessories are, of course, Figma bag and a Figma stand, including this part. And there is 2 different faces. So it's one, I'm not sure what to call this face, a little bit more surprised maybe, but it looks cute. And this face is a winking face. And the standard face was a standard smiling face. And she also have her handbag cannon, which is basically similar to the one Yukikaze have. Whoops, I'm keep dropping stuff. Right, I will pick that up later. But I think you got a good picture on it. Now comes a weird part. The hands, they are all loose. Whoops. This review turns out chaotic. Right, they are loose. But there is a set of hands, but there are no rack for them. And that's a bit problematic because you will have to like just put them into the Figma bag. It's better to organize them on a rack. So I'm not sure. But there's a bunch of hands. And as far as accessories that goes, it's pretty basic. You get her gear and some hands and faces. Pretty standard, nothing extra. But I'm not sure if she really needs anything more. Alright, here she is. Tokitsukaze posed up. And before I go any further on other details, I did check it up and she is indeed a Kagero class destroyer. So Kagero is the class that Tokitsukaze and Yukikaze both came from. And I did choose this basic pose because I prefer those. They take less space on the shelf and all that. And I think it's good enough for a character like this. She looks cute. She have her guns on her back, the torpedo tube and the guns, and I think that's good enough on a small destroyer ship girl. And I really like the look of the eyes. They are red, or like sort of red, and a dark hair. I love this combo. Dark hair and red eyes. And she also has some nice little toned hair on the sides, resembling puppy ears hanging down. She looks really cute with that. And the posing was... It's basically quite limited due to the torso joint being stiff and the legs cannot go that high up, but for poses like this, or not trying a sitting pose or something, it will work pretty nicely. Overall she's pretty unlimited, just slightly limited due to the limitations. But there are a lot of Figmas that have those minor limitations, so I will not like say it's bad because of it. Definitely not. The posing possibilities are really good. And now let's compare her to Yukikaze, which is her sister ship. And both of them are pretty alike, yet I have to take back my comment on this one being a retool with just different head and stuff, because they are actually more different than I imagined. The whole torso have a different sculpt because she have tied up her shirt on the side, and there is stuff here, I'm not sure what those are, but the rig for her torpedo tubes are at her hips, sticking out here, while Yukikaze have it higher up on her back. However, the handbag cannon are pretty much identical. It's the same sculpture, the exact same sculpture. However, the tint of gray is slightly different, so they have used a different plastic, or it's probably just a production thing, but the tint of gray is slightly different. And the same goes with the torpedo tubes. They are identical but have a slight different tint. But they're totally different sculptures in general, except for some of the gear, and I can't see why people complain about they releasing yet another Ship Girl, because I just think it's nice to collect more different characters. I don't care if they're similar. I want to collect many different characters. Figmas are small and display friendly. You can go nuts on collecting a lot of stuff, and I like having complete collections with lineups of a lot of characters, so I really enjoy this sort of thing. And if I had to choose a favorite out of the two, Tokitsukaze is my favorite because of her design. She looks more like my taste of design with the red eyes and all that. I think Yukikaze are slightly taller. I'm not sure which one is the tallest in the series or if they are the same, but I think it works nicely either way. I'm not fully sure when they released Yukikaze, but Tokitsukaze is newer, and also the end of the sleeves here are attached on this one, but as you saw when I took off the hand earlier, the blue part around there is a rubber part that falls off if you takes off the hand, so it's a separate part here, probably to make posing easier, but it's not on this one. So this one is a little bit older Figma, but not super old, but it's one of the earlier Kantai collection Figmas, and this is one of the latest Kantai collection Figmas. But to compare, this one is the favorite. I like Tokitsukaze more, and I think I need to sum it up at that. I highly recommend the figure if you like Kantai collection, if you like Tokitsukaze. She's nice. She has her limits in the posing possibilities because of the pointers I've already said, but she's a good figure, so it's a good value. Not a plethora of accessories, but you get what you need, and she looks cute. What more can you ask? So I do recommend it, and I hope you enjoyed the review. Until next time, take care and sayonara!